back to my channel. My name is Brianna and I wanted to do a quick review of the book Jackal by Erin E. And I wanted to give it its own space instead of like crowding it into a video where I review tons of books at the same time. I think this book just deserves its own space, and I'm going to tell you why. This is one of my favorite books of the year so far, and I know that we are only in April. I've read 11 books so far, and out of the 11, this is definitely one of my favorites, if not the favorite. So sit back and see why I chose this book. This book, first of all, I would give it 5 stars. It is amazing. It is suspenseful. It is so well written with so much detail. The one thing that I went into this book kind of expecting that there were going to be some, facts about racism and things like that, but I thought it was going to kind of just be thrown in there. However, the good thing about this book is that the facts that were given, they fit the story so well, and they were put in at the right times. It wasn't just like random facts being thrown at you throughout the book. Wherever these facts were put at, that is where they actually belonged, and it fit the story, and it made the story. I want to say that this is the first fiction book that I have ever annotated, and I was even surprised myself. I didn't even have the post-it notes. I had to go to the store and buy them just to begin to annotate, because it's not something that I do unless it's a textbook, and even then it's like highlighters and stuff like that. But I wanted to annotate because there were just some shocking things that were happening in this book, and I wanted to be able to go back and remember them. Also, the further you get in the book, there are these hints and clues that get dropped, and you go from like being so confident in the fact that you know who the killer is, how all of this stuff is happening. It's like you're so confident, and then there'll be an instance where a clue is spotted and you're just like, oh, well, maybe it could be such and such. So this book does a very good job of keeping the reader on their toes, because the minute you think you have it figured out, a clue gets dropped and you're just you feel like you're back at the drawing board trying to figure out what is going on in this book. And that was great for me because it held my attention. I feel that before I was even halfway through this book, I had told myself, I want to read the next one. And that's crazy because this is her debut novel, and I believe her next one doesn't come out until 2025 is what the websites have been saying. And I already know, like, she's already gonna be an auto-buy author for me, and I don't really have too many of those. I only have 2 other authors that are auto-buy for me, but she immediately goes in that category. I didn't want to put this book down. Like, the further I got into it, the more I wanted to continue reading. I wanted to see how this all played out. And I honestly wasn't prepared for the ending. Like, that wasn't even on my like bingo card of how this was gonna end. But when I tell you, like, in my mind, from the very beginning, or not from the very beginning, but I had my idea of who it was. And then there was a clue given, and I was like, well, maybe it's this person. And then I get on the track of thinking it's this person, and then there's another clue, and I'm like, well, maybe it's this person. And I love that. There's also, in the beginning, it was confusing too, because you just, I don't know how to describe it, but she'll go from one person is telling the story, and then all of a sudden through the story, someone else is talking. And when I first noticed it, I kept asking, like, who is this other person that's coming through these stories like this? Because it wasn't like the person was talking. It would be like they would say like one phrase and that'll be it. But as the book goes on, that voice has more page time, I want to say. But it's you still don't know, like, you still don't know exactly what's going on and where this other voice is coming from, and first of all, why is there this other voice? And you don't find out until the very end. But the way I was reading, I noticed it, but to me it didn't start to play a role in what was happening until later on. It was like I'm noticing it, I'm catching these words and phrases, but it wasn't like in the forefront of my mind, because my mind was already like, these are the people who are responsible. It was this person. Yes, there's this other voice that's coming through, but at the end of the day, it's this person. And yeah, it just, there definitely, she does a good job of holding your attention all the way to the end. It's not like some books where there's this big lead up and then the ending just drops off and you're like, what? No, she from the beginning, she holds your attention. And by the time you get to the end, it's just a great book. Like, I can't say enough about this book. It's great, and it's 5 stars. If you are on the fence about reading it, please go pick it up. I feel like you would not be disappointed in this book, and you'll love the ending. You'll be just as shocked by the ending as I was, because there were so many twists in this book, but twists that you were able to keep up with. Like, they weren't so far-fetched that you were just like, where is this coming from? Every twist in this book made sense. Like, you could imagine like that is a route that you could take. So I think that this book just deserves the recognition that it's getting, and I am looking forward to reading the next book. And whatever else she decides that she wants to put out, I am all here for. So, Jackal by Erin E. Adams. If you're on the fence, please go pick it up. You will not be disappointed. And I'll see you in the next one.